Alrighty, so let's see, here we go. Today I wanted to just start off with releasing some stress energy and explaining that that's connected to going into fear paralysis. Pardon me, just want to get a little bit more light for everybody to see. So fear paralysis is something that happens to us when we feel like we're about to die. Like when we're so stressed and traumatized that we feel like we're preparing for death. And we are living in so much chronic stress at this point that can just be a constant problem for us. So let me check in there and see if I can get that energy to move out of the body. And we can go ahead and have you stop video. When we'll do videos at the end if you want. So that way if there's coming and going, it's not disturbing or distracting anyone. So right now I am working to release this fear paralysis energy, which makes it hard to take a step forward. And just go ahead and connect in with your body. Think of it as a safe place to be. Imagine that I'm standing at your feet and that you're either comfortably on a massage table or just maybe you're lying down on a couch or whatever. And imagine that energy from the K1 point, which is right at the end of the pad of the ball of your foot, right before you head into the arch at the midpoint of the foot there. Imagine that there's energy flowing from that down to the center of the earth. You can also imagine a golden grounding cord that can send any old energy down to the center of the earth, and that the earth can purify it for you and send back up the backside of the golden grounding cord fresh energy to your body. And as you are doing that, just notice a sense of movement again. So many times we push away sensation in our lives because we can't cope with all of the feelings. Unfortunately, that means that we're not really learning about our bodies and the amazing messages and information that we can get from them. So you may notice only once that paralysis is freed that, in fact, you were trying to wall off from that, the stress of the situation. I'm just waiting for the field to even out. Right now, there's a big back and forth, almost a tidal pull between the two sides, which are connected to doing and being. The doing side is our masculine energy, and the being side is our feminine energy. We want them to be able to play nicely in the playpen together, the playpen of life. That's good. That's it. There's nothing like trying to be a little funny, trying to lighten things up, to realize that we are, in fact, so much more than just our physical beings, that we are, in fact, here as energy beings, having our soul growth happen. through these daily events of life and the emotions that we learn through. So I like to think that what's happening is my work is to help people with the business of emotional learning. And that's why I call it Right Brain University. It's not the kind of emotional learning that there are so many buzzwords about today. It's all about emotional intelligence. And if you think about that, that is really just trying to make the conscious mind do even more work. The subconscious, the child mind, is capable of so much more. It's so much more powerful and hungry for learning. Let it do its part. Let it want to team and partner with us. And as it partners with you, each and every one of you, we help let other people know through our mirror neurons what it's like to change and grow and feel good in our bodies day to day. All right, so now I am going to help with stress relief. By the way, if you have a friend or family member that's a trusted, safe person, you can do this that first for each other. You can imagine that this is so if these were my toes and this was the ball of my foot, K1 would be right here. So you just stand with them on a massage table or a couch or a bed and stand at the end with both hands and just imagine that there's a grounding cord for you and you're not taking this on. It's just washing around your bubble and your boundaries are 100% and you're just facilitating movement of that energy. And now ESR and K27s, which is two hands like this. For your use later, you don't need to do it now, but about an inch above the eyebrows in the center of the forehead and about a half inch below the end of the collarbones will help you. And I'm doing that for you now. You can just relax. And again, imagining that golden grounding cord down to the center of the earth. And the pulse is just waking up. Everybody's had a stressful week, I would say, overall. This is usually there's a pulse at the start, so just imagine giving yourself a big hug. It's been a hard one for many of you. And know that you're not alone. I'm grateful for my tools. There's constantly going to be a pull towards the old path of shutting down and giving up, that fear paralysis. Which I'll talk about more later when I get into things like the upper limit problem discussion. There we go. Take a deep breath in and let that go. Alrighty. Okay, so next we're going to do the Bund meditation. I did record, I think I mentioned it before, but if I didn't, I recorded a piece about this, and honest, I am going to work on it this week to get it edited to explain why it's so important. But basically, it helps to grow a type of resilience within the body, and without it, when we have underdeveloped ability to hold our breath for extended periods of time, and everybody, that's going to be a little bit different. If you're a pearl diver, you can hold your breath for an incredibly long time. And there is a correlation between how long you can hold your breath and how much risk you are at having a really bad experience with COVID. So it pays for everybody to get better at this. Some people are so stressed out that they can't hold their breath for a second without feeling panicked. And so just completely honor where you're at. The more you do this exercise, though I should say the longer you do this exercise, the more you will grow into being able to easily hold your breath longer. So with that said, I'm going to imagine that this is a brand new class of people watching this who've never done it before, so I do have to walk everyone through it again. We're going to be bringing the breath into the body and imagining it traveling along this orange path. And then while still holding the breath, we're going to reverse the direction and have it go first to the crown chakra. And then we'll have a little moment of relaxation, and then we'll work our way through each chakra. So the next time we would come down here and then work our way back energetically to here while holding the breath and continuing on down until we get to the first chakra. Now this point of travel is not drawn well on this picture. I have yet to find a better picture, and I messed up the only copy that I had. But imagine that this is your central channel, so it's about 1 inch in front of your spine. Yes, lying down is totally fine. And okay, so let's see, what else do I want to say about this? So this bottom point that we bring it to is 3 finger widths below the belly button. So that's going to be, everybody has a slightly different size of finger, so you can just put that underneath your belly button and see where it goes, okay? So taking a deep breath in, bringing the breath down to 3 finger widths below the belly button, and then keeping the energy while moving and holding the breath, going back to that crown chakra. And when you're ready to release, the energy goes upward, imagining it as purple smoke. And then just take a normal breath. You may notice a little shift. And when you're ready, let's take another deep breath in, bringing that breath down to the junction and then back up while holding the breath. The energy of it lodges at your throat. That sky blue of the chakra is what you release 360 degrees all around as you're ready to go. And then just notice how you're feeling in your body. If that sensation is starting to calm you. I found it incredibly calming both for body and mind, because once my body is calm, then my mind can also relax. Let's take a deep breath in, bringing the energy and breath down to 3 finger widths below the junction, holding the breath while sending the energy back to the heart this time. And holding it as long as is comfortable, 360 degrees all around green smoke, when you're ready to release. Alrighty, let's go on to the next one. Breath in, bringing that down to 3 finger widths below the junction, holding your breath as you send the energy now to the yellow, to the sacral, to the solar plexus chakra, the 3rd chakra. When you're ready, 360 degrees all around, yellow smoke. You may notice that we skip a few chakras. That's because this is sixth chakra and the seventh are combined as we're doing that, really, but we use the color of the seventh. And then the second chakra is not something that's done in this form of the exercise by the Tibetans. They do it in the physical version, but not in the, this is called the secret salung. So go ahead and take a deep breath in, bringing the energy down to 3 finger widths below the belly button at that junction, and then bringing it down to the first chakra. And this time when you're ready to release, that's red smoke going downward. Very good. All right. Now, I had spoken before about how helpful this is. It's something that you can do every day if you want, and you could just do one, or you could do the typical Tibetan version that we did was 3 times for each chakra. Now that takes a while, so it's good to just even do one. And the benefit of it is that if you are in a situation where you don't want to get inflamed, like I described a situation where I was very tense about doing some banking, and I had to come here and lead this group, and I did not want to be in a state. So I was just able to silently, you can take the tiniest little breath when you're in public, just the tiniest. Nobody has to know. You're just doing this whole inner salung, they call it, and it's helping you. It can help you immensely. So let's see what else. Alrighty, and Chris, welcome. I am just we are video off except for me to start, and then at the end, when I ask for feedback, it is going to be up to you whether you want to turn your video on or sound on to make a comment. Alrighty, so then the next thing is to talk a little bit about education. So thank you, Chris. I'm glad you're here. So a little bit about the education. So Chris, I will be putting this up in the afternoon, by the afternoon. And so if you would like to go back and see what you missed, and because there's physiological calming that's happening at the start, just 3 quick things that really I found make a huge difference for me being calm and peaceful in the rest of my day. Then I suggest you just go back and make time for that 20 minutes. The recordings, you can sign up to be part of my YouTube channel, a subscriber to my YouTube channel, totally free. It's youtube.com/@rightbrainuniversity, and I will put that in the chat. And if you have notifications set up, then you'll get notified when the next time I put something in. All right. So first off, what I've found is, my beliefs growing up was that, well, my teenage years was sort of the mantra was very cynical: life sucks and then you die. So as you can see, I've had a lot to overcome with a very bad inner mindset. And this, for anybody who has children, if you can step in and just try to find out what their inner thoughts are in a moment that they're that they're willing to share. Sometimes that's when driving, they kind of open up in ways that they wouldn't otherwise. But so the subconscious is trying to save our lives, and it has a lot of experience with knowing that we are not to be trusted. Think of all the kids that that tried putting on a Superman cape and jumping off a roof. I talk about that when I give public talks, and am always stunned at actually meeting people that did that. Every single time. But there were a lot of other things that I know that I did as a child that were very unsafe, and I'm lucky that I survived them. And the subconscious mind was taking note that I could not be trusted. And really, the thing is, I could not be trusted yet, right? I wasn't ready to be trusted with steering the ship as a small child of 7. That's when the conscious mind starts to develop. And the subconscious mind is already mature at that point. So the child mind is mature by the age of 7. And it's recorded everything that in a nonverbal way. It's just watching everything, and it just knows how to read between the lines. It's good at subtext, and it knows what's going to make people angry. It knows about its position in life, about how they rank, how each of us ranks in terms of, I grew up from the age of 4.5 until the age of 10 in a culture that does not value women. And believe me, I picked that up. To hear all of the people telling my parents that how sorry they were that they just had 2 girls. So things like that limit us for the rest of our lives unless we address them. And fortunately, energy healing does exactly that. It can address exactly those issues and heal those inner children. So Dr. Gay Hendricks is actually a psychologist based in Ojai, and he has written a number of books, among them a book called The Big Leap. And he talks about the upper limit problem, which is that there's a part of us that wants to ride within the comfort of what we've experienced. And if we grew up in a household where we were empowered, that's great. We grow up and we're empowered, and wow, the world is our oyster. And there's a lot of successful people that have exactly that, like the winds of good fortune always gently blowing into their sails. And thank God we have some of them, right? Because there are many of us who did not have those advantages. And so we don't realize that we're being held back by this child mind that says, wait a minute, if you do that, grandma prefers her other grandchildren, not you. She's going to get angry. Maybe she had some power. Maybe she was watching you after school. Well, she's not anymore, right? So now's the time to reset that. Maybe you grew up in a society that, like I did, didn't value girls either, or didn't value whatever race you were. All of those things are holding us back. And what we perceive is holding us back, we're also impacted by other people being held back. So I've done group sessions before. Yeah. Yulia is saying women were unsafe. So that's something. Depends upon the state. In the United States too, people are treated differently because of sex and race and religion. Yeah, there's that everywhere. So that upper limit problem is trying to keep us stuck because it knows that it can survive it. But it's a child mind, if you remember. So the child mind is making an assumption that the adult mind, the adult conscious mind, it knows. We were lucky to survive our childhood, for many of us. If I hadn't learned to hide away parts of myself and I expressed myself fully in my family of origin, I would have been beaten by my dad. And I was constantly afraid of the times that I was punished by him. He had PTSD and didn't know it. And I believe he meant well. I know he loves me. We have a good relationship now. but we did not have a safe relationship when I was growing up, and perhaps you didn't either. So this is something that we can fix. Just anytime that you feel yourself being held back, simply saying, I see you, upper limit problem, that will help it to stop it from operating in the dark, because it only operates when we're letting the automatic patterns happen and we're not tuning in to the fact that there is this part of ourselves that is vast and incredibly brilliant and incredibly knowledgeable, but basically grew up as a shackled little elephant, told no matter how old that it gets and how big that it gets, that the trainer is going to beat it. And our parents inadvertently, most of them, that most of them would have wanted good things for us and didn't realize that they were shackling the elephant. So let us, as the conscious mind, become the good inner parent the good parent that we wish we always had. And when we see it doing something that's holding us back, we lovingly say, "Oh, no, inner upper limit problem. We don't do that anymore. I love you very much, and I see you. So this is how we act instead." So no, I'm successful now, for example. So then the negative core beliefs about ourselves are often not even true. So a lot of us have a lot of shame about who we are, what we've done, and these are aspects of self that we may have picked up to try to survive our childhoods. So even more so, the reason that, like, when I run us through the part where I'm integrating inner children, many people want nothing to do with them who have been shamed so extremely that they and sort of learn to drink the Kool-Aid of having to believe that they were the problem in the household, and if only they hadn't been born, life would have been great for everybody else. That's where everybody just dumps on one person, and one person becomes the black sheep. And I hope that if you can't quite love yourself enough to be able to want to connect to those inner children initially, I hope that you can think of a friend who might be having like, imagine that you have met a person who had a similar background, and wouldn't you have compassion for them? So let's just start to grow that inner compassion if you're struggling with it. We are imperfect as we're learning how to act in the world, and where maybe once we were too aggressive. It's not that we don't want to have aggression within us, we just want it to be set at the right dial, and aggression in the sense of self-protection, right? So if we were unsafe, just being who we were growing up, it would be helpful, right, to be aggressive and have somebody else taken aback of, oh, well, they're not going to cooperate quietly, so that would have been protective, right? So just know that the right amount of everything is something that we're aiming for, and we're human, so we're not always going to be perfect, and we deserve to be loved anyway. So with that said, we're going to go on to emotional clearing. The group goal, let me just read this real quick. I am healed in body, speech, and mind. I am comfortable in my body. I allow my body and my mind to learn from and let go of old stress and trauma. I am allowed to feel calm. It is safe for me to feel calm and peaceful in my body. I sleep deeply through the night, knowing everything always turns out marvelously well. My negative core beliefs are healed. My relationships are easy and peaceful. I stay calm throughout my day, even when provoked. My higher power supports me fully in this. I deeply love all of my inner children who are stressed and traumatized and who keep me from feeling calm and peaceful. I invite them home to my heart. I am purposeful and prosperous. My resources are generous and I share them with others. My parents and siblings want this for me. My extended family and friends wants this for me. Society wants this for me. So when I read a goal like this, what's happening in the subconscious for everyone is any inner children that are on guard from those things being true are activated. And we want them activated so that I can help them integrate and heal. And the way that they're going to be willing to integrate and heal is by you allowing them to learn a feeling. The subconscious is here to learn feelings. And feelings can feel very scary. I was incredibly emotionally avoidant. What matters is just trying to feel a drop of feeling. Because when I started, I couldn't even call feelings into my body. And yeah, agreed, Julia. So when I first started, I was so good at putting the kettle lid on. I was like a pressure cooker. I wasn't going to feel anything. The only thing that I would feel was numbness and tingling, which I think basically it's with fibromyalgia, what's happening is people who are too good at emotional avoidance getting to the point where the body can't process the emotions internally. And so there's an external extra, like all of the voltage of the chemical potential energy goes to the exterior of the body and all the nerves are going, ah. So I can tell you that just by trying to feel a drop, that you will, yes. So I'm seeing sometimes the lid blows off and I snap at people I love most. Suppressing feelings does not serve me. Yes. So it not only blows off, the lid doesn't just blow off, it creates a chemical stew in the body that is toxic, and over time it will lead to inflammation. And neurochemicals in the body in quantity are inflammatory, and as most doctors will tell you, inflammation can lead to disease. I am not a doctor or psychologist, but I can tell you from somebody who's gone through this, it really sucks. And I had to relearn how to do things, and it felt scary. It definitely felt scary, but when you find somebody that you can trust to take you through the journey, which is what I'm doing here on Wednesdays for free, you will start to see how you can do a little bit of shifting in your life to make life easier for you. So with that said, today's feeling is let me just look this up. So naming the feelings is what I've found has been so helpful, and I've just been making a list of all of the ones that I felt. At first I knew what it felt like, and then mostly what I do now is muscle test if the word doesn't just pop in my head. So this is the feeling of being weary of life, and it says unconscious feeling. So go ahead and ask the body to send you just a drop of that if this is your first time, knowing that anything that you sense now, head to toe, is part of the emotional processing. So things like hot or cold, numbness or tingling, pressure or ease, movement, discomfort or pain. This is all a normal part of emotional processing. And just sending that love, because feeling weary of life can feel scary. People can feel like it's a slippery slope if we allow ourselves to feel this. So it's a big block. And as you've had enough, if that one drop is come and gone and you just want to tap out, notice that you actually feel perhaps a little sleepy, very calm, very peaceful. And the more sessions that you come to, the more you will notice that these sensations um, can be trusted to happen during the course of this session. And then when I stop holding the points and we move past the emotional learning, they don't revisit. They only come up because the body's desperate to learn a feeling. And when you've let it learn, it wants to play too. It wants to have fun and enjoy life. Take a deep breath in and let that go. Great. Okay, so that takes care of that level. And there's another feeling. Just checking to see. And this one is feeling unseasoned. This has been coming up a lot. Unseasoned. This is an ancestral feeling of being unseasoned. As life is getting harder, what I would say is that in general, since COVID, most people that I talk to are just feeling so much stress all the time, and it just feels like it's a constantly increasing spiral because people's old methods of coping are not working as well as they used to. And so basically every day that we wake up, there's the potential that in this day we're being asked to handle something that we haven't been asked to handle before. And truly that's the human condition, right? But it's something I think too that is part of the ascension process, and are addressing it by letting ourselves feel it um, is something that um, helps the process of ascension for everyone. Last week we had somebody from Turkey show up, and I like to think of this as sort of acupressure from around the world, just emotional acupressure helping the world heal. All right, great. Okay, so now that's it for the feelings, and it's going to be a chakra reset next. So right below your crown chakra, I'm sending in some energy, and I'm just acting as the conduit where around my bubble, whatever you call your higher power is sending energy through that to you. And some people will actually feel it there, and other people instead will see colors or just feel relaxed. So it's all a part of helping to reset the chakras, because what will happen, the body being so brilliant, such a genius, when it doesn't want something to happen for us, the child mind will turn off a chakra, or flip a chakra, or in some way disable the chakra from being at its full capacity. And so we just have to say again, oh, we see you, nice try, we love you, that was misguided. It's like a kind parent say, oh no, let's hold space for us having a better life, calling in better things for us. So this resets that chakra. It's a sub-chakra right below the 7th chakra at 6.9. And now we're going to integrate inner children. Just quickly, if you need more explanation, because this is the first time for many of, or for several of you, please go to my YouTube channel. On the fourth oldest group stress video, I'm sorry it wasn't numbered, it's 49 minutes and 55 seconds long. And at minute 35 and 21 seconds, you'll find a great overview and a slower run through, an explanation about how to bring home inner children who don't want to come home at first, because sometimes they don't want to come home. It might be teenage inner children who are embarrassed about being, hanging out with adults. And okay, so in the meantime, it's 5,000 inner children from birth to the present day. So going ahead and connecting into your body, you may have a sense of shimmering or vibration, and that is your fascial train activating to help you connect these little ones and to allow them movement in a little bit. So go ahead and imagine that you can see them in a beautiful, safe place with the older ones taking care of the younger ones. And if you're having difficulty imagining so many inner children, it's just trying. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So imagine that you can walk up to them and say hello. Tell them, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were here all alone. I came as soon as I heard. I'm you, all grown up. We've survived and we've thrived. Your home is in my heart. Come home to my heart." And show them pictures of you between the ages of birth to the present day. That's how they'll know that you've survived. Maybe a half a dozen pictures. And again, this is the point where you can go to that old video and stop it, cue it up and run through the rest of it. If you feel that you can't get all of your inner children on board right now, let's proceed with those that you can get on board, who are happy to come home to your heart. And for everyone else who has a full posse of 5,000 each, let's go ahead on and continue. So ask them to come home to your heart and visualize them shrinking down to the size of points of light, like very small little points of light. And imagine those points of light can head home to your heart. And here's where some people who are very sensitive will actually notice a sense of movement in the body, and that's normal. That's these little ones coming home from wherever they've been stored in your body. And you, as that loving parent that you wished you'd always had, imagining welcoming them with open arms at your heart. Watching these little ones come home and the light within the heart. Okay, take a deep breath in. And when you breathe out, send the buttery yellow light of self-compassion to every cell in your body. And when you're ready, you can take another deep breath in. And when you breathe out, you can send love and gratitude to every layer of you that's cooperated here today. And then the last thing is I will remove some negative energies. Just checking for that. All right, that's complete. And then I would just ask that everyone think of gratitude for how you felt when you started the session and the difference that you feel now, and gratitude for the evolving that we're undergoing, and um, shifts and changes that each day allows us access to new parts of ourselves that we were not in touch with before, that lead us to new capacities and newfound happiness and inner healing. So for those of you who are interested, you're welcome to either turn on video or comment. I hope you noticed a big shift. Oh, great. I'm hearing I feel more relaxed in my body. Great.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Lisa. How's it going?
It's really it's feels really profound, just the difference from coming in to, how I feel right now. Just the calm and the peace um, that I feel enveloped by is really positive. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm really glad to hear it. And I see from Heidi that it feels great. So thank you. I hope you come back and join us. We're going to be here every week.
Thank you, Liz. This is Rachel. I just wanted to thank you. Yeah, I feel really good too. I needed to recognize my inner children and give them permission to integrate. I've been talking to my therapist about that too, because I think for me, I have a blind spot that comes up. Like I'll feel a certain emotion, restless, irritable, discontent, jealous, whatever it is. And then sometimes before I even know it, I'm using a maladaptive behavior to address that feeling. And I feel like it's those kids going, no, we want something, or just that
Mm-hmm.
I've never allowed myself to be in touch with inner children. And I had a quick question. Why do you say 5,000?
I'm muscle testing to see
Oh,
how many each time. Um, uh, um, some like I work on a lot for myself. When I do a clearing for myself, I can handle millions at a time, and I don't
mm,
think of what I'm thinking is that the human mind, like the entirety of who we are, is handling multiple um, uh, like milliseconds of experience. It's like keeping track of every little thing down to so minute of a time, like nanoseconds. I think that's what it's
mm,
doing. Um, and yeah, so at first when I was testing, like more like, well, this is great, but can I do more than one at a time? The answer was, oh yeah, there's a lot that wants to get processed and integrated. So um, and the other thing that can happen is that people can just get so stuck in feeling like, they're so wounded and there's no way to heal, and there's like a
yeah.
rage, uh, there's a rage and a feeling that we're broken forever, and that like we want to give up. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing that fueled me in that time is when it's two things. First of all, um, I truly believe that I am not going to be, that I feel that I am deserving of having the things that I want to have in my life.
Mm.
And if I give up on trying to attain them, then the people who did this to me win.
Oh, I love that. Abundance.
Yeah. And if they had done the work, if they had had the tools that have shown up in my life, and they had done the work, I truly believe that they would have wanted everything for me. And that's why I say my parents and my siblings want this for me, my extended family and friends want this for me, society wants this for me, because for all of us in some way we have probably felt that some aspect of that was not true.
Right.
And we felt alone and unloved and unlovable. And we're the parent coming in now for these inner children and saying, oh no, sweetheart, that was the wrong assumption. That was a wrong assumption. And by our healing, we're healing our ancestral line, so that's why it's so important to be doing this work. This is part of the whole ascension. I'm sure there's lots of other people like me in this world that are trying to get word out about the new tools that are out here. So
I'm unclear on the tools. The tools are just me being able to sit quietly, be centered, and invite these children to integrate.
Yes, and tools like coming to this session.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming weekly to this session. The things that I teach about having the hands like so, and placing them under here and up here when you're in the thick of an emotion, like Cynthia had mentioned. So this is a great tool for you, Cynthia, right now, just to when a feeling comes up that it feels like too much to process. The longer we've held it, the more we had to hide it away. When I would go through some of these things, I would be sitting for an hour and just letting myself feel it. And obviously we don't have time to do that, but it's a great way to go to sleep at night. If you feel like you can give yourself the time, as you're falling to sleep, to say, body, send me what you want, and then just do this and send it love back, just send it love back. And when you've had enough, you take your hands away. And the more you can practice that, the more you'll trust that it's available for you and it's safe for you. It will take time, but I can tell you the difference that it's made in my life. It's just incredible.
How do you know when you're integrated?
There's something that we can do every day to integrate. The sensation that we are integrated in a space, for me, is something that I can feel with my two hands.
Nice.
So it may or may not be something that you can feel today, but if you set the intention that you wish to be able to connect to that, it's a muscle that will develop for you. And so what I'm feeling for is that the pulse is the same in my two hands when I'm holding here and here. That helps, And Yulia, did you want to say something?
I just wanted to say thank you. And I felt this sensation when inviting children into the heart as a spectacles of light. I just felt them. In my imagination or in my visual, I just felt them flying in all at once. And then I had to take a deep breath. I was just like, whoa, that feels like. And I love what you said. They're stored memories in different parts of the body, and kind of inviting them to one space, kind of consolidating them in the heart area.
Yes, actually, it's hard to get to everything in these sessions because they're typically 45 minutes. So we actually have neurons in our heart, and if we had an experience that was traumatic for us, and we had an adult who could attune to us and feel our feelings and say to us, oh, you know, you're feeling angry because you didn't get a chance to do, I'm not letting you have a lollipop now. And I love you no matter what, and this is something that's not good for your health, that kind of thing. I mean, obviously it'd be something more dramatic than that, but there are times when kids have a complete meltdown in a grocery store over a particular thing that they didn't get. And if the parent could just say, oh, sweetheart, go down on their knees and say at the child's level, I love you, and I'm looking out for you. And I know this is really hard, but sometimes we don't get what we want. And I can tell you're so angry. Oh my goodness, I really feel that. And it's okay to be angry. Um, and just feel the feeling, and it will help you get through the feeling by feeling that. And we'll go home and we'll have, you know, a nice apple pie for dinner, or what, however it works, right? You know, if we had a parent that did that instead of shut up, you're, you know, you're embarrassing me, and you're like basically like slapping the kid, you're embarrassing me in public, and with, you know, so that we had to try to make sense of, oh, I must have done something terribly wrong, I'm a bad kid, you know. So if that had happened for us, then our emotional experience would have been encoded in the neurons of our heart. And because it didn't, a piece of us was split off because it wasn't safe to be that way anymore, and it gets lodged somewhere in the body, along with the emotions of the event.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been doing this kind of work for 10 years now, and I still find plenty of inner children to work on. So there's, you know, we're layers, and I hope that you will find that this way of thinking and this way of, like, each week that you are feeling more and more that you're heading along a good path.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
I had one more question, Liz. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So when I try and get in touch with my inner children, sometimes I'm confused as to, is this like my divine nature? Is it my like Buddha nature? Is it God? Is it love? Or is it really children that are suppressed and angry? Like I'm unclear on exactly what I'm tapping into that's so pure, but yet I guess needs to be cleansed at the same time.
Well, so so the unconscious and subconscious are a part of us that that are many different levels, and a part of that is our higher self. That is that Buddha nature, that is that purity that wants nothing more for us to succeed in having everything that we would want in this life for us. It is a part of us, though, that we have free will as the conscious mind. We have free will, and as the subconscious mind, we have free will. So the parts of us that made incorrect assumptions as children are, as these subconscious inner children, are acting out in ways that are preventing what our higher self would want, which I think of. So there's 3 layers of the human brain. There's the brainstem, the emotional brain, and the cortex. And then the cortex has this prefrontal cortex that's kind of a little add-on. I like to think of the higher self as being part of that, the cortex and the prefrontal cortex. That's what's allowing us to tune into whatever you want to consider is greater than us, and the higher power is, you know, is what it's like the radio station that we're able to tune into when there's no interference. And our inner children, in their innocence, have change the dial on their radio station to play the all-time favorites of limitations, disabilities, illness. Because I am seeing this more and more in myself, that illness is a feeling. And it's a tactic that's used by the subconscious when it doesn't want us to do something and all else fails. It will call in illness. Over and over again, every single night, I connect into feeling of health. And I've learned how to move the energy in my body, and I can feel where I'm blocking things off. I don't think I've gotten any better at not blocking it, but I've gotten good at unblocking it.
Wow.
And so all of these things are just ways in which the mind and body interact with each other in this limited way, which is starting to expand with these kinds of tools and these kinds of sessions into allowing more and more for us. And also realizing how we need to treat ourselves better, that the doing side of the mind, that's getting up and going to work and making that bacon, that, or whatever we're eating, right, bringing home the money, that part of us is fighting against this other part of us that wants to do silly, frivolous things for no reason and just hang out and gaze at our navel sometimes. And they're two halves of the same car, like they're two drivers of the same car, and we have to listen to both drivers, or we make the poor that other part of us wounded and unhappy. We take away all of our joy when we drive ourselves too hard. I think everybody's experienced that kind of burnout, and the negative self-talk, the self-judgment. If you're starting to feel anxious, if you're starting to feel depressed, it's because, I guarantee you, there was something that, there might have been something that somebody else said to you that triggered it, but 9 times out of 10, because we are our own harshest critic, it was something that we thought about ourselves that wounded one of our inner children. Yeah.
So there's ego that's separate from my inner children sort of speaking to me in my internal dialogue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye, Chris. Yeah, so love to you too. So ego interferes, and inner children are trying to act. They're triggered by situations that come up, and then we need to step in and be in our observational mode as much as we can. When we're triggered by something, to try to go into observing the senses, so that we're not going into an automatic pattern that's
instincts. Like,
right.
What instinct is this? My security instinct or my financial instinct? What is getting triggered, right? Is that part of it, or a tool, I guess?
Yeah. Instincts, urges. There's, and the inner children that are on guard, they stay present to make sure that the wounding event that happened to us before won't happen again. Like, they're in charge of redirecting our behavior, but it's not a high vibration. They're in often a brainstem response or emotional brain response, and everything happens at a much higher level when we're in the cortex, in the prefrontal cortex. Sorry, you were saying?
Does it help to try and go back and remember whatever that event was that stuck with us?
Does
that clear it?
We can grind in the event by dwelling on it. So,
I see. It could go either way.
Yeah.
Like, I had an event I'm just gonna say, like, I have a great singing voice, but in third grade, a teacher humiliated me, and now I will never sing. I only sing in the
Um,
car. I'm terrified. Like, would that be an example of trying to go
yeah,
back to that moment of like, this is ridiculous,
yeah.
sing?
But in a loving way. In a
Okay,
loving way, right?
good
Because
reminder.
that's an inner child that is very tender. And so
Yeah,
instead say, sweetheart, I hear you're hanging out and you know, you're really sad because somebody was so mean to you. Maybe she was
yeah,
jealous. You know, sometimes grown-ups aren't above that kind of behavior. And I love you and I'm here now. So you're welcome to come home to my heart.
I'm here now. Yeah, thanks for the reminder to be loving.
Great. Yeah. So I am actually, yeah, a pleasure. I am, hang on just a second. I want to stop